Hello everyone. Today we have a new video. This is going to be on Ozempic. And I really don't talk anything about Ozempic, right? About a good 2, 3 years ago when it became famous and people were talking about it, I made a few videos about it. And I have a lot of nice things to say about it. Because in reality, there are side effects. And side effects, I don't really like side effects because what you could do is you could eat a nice healthy diet. The reality is people are being sold, right, that you could take this magic pill with an injection, right? And you can eat whatever you want. But when people eat whatever they want, right, it's never going to be more healthy food, right? It's not more veggies, right? It's not more meat. It's not even more fruits, right? Basically, people just want to eat a lot of cake, right? A lot of cookies, pastries, chips. People want to eat things that are designed to be consumed. What people don't realize is the food industry, it wins by using addiction to make things so amazing. You get a bliss point, right? Get the right amount of fat, right amount of carbs, right amount of sugar, you get the right amount of the flavorings, and people will just eat nonstop, right? I mean, that's kind of the reason why people will eat a whole bag of chips that are family sized in one sitting, or a whole pint of ice cream. So the reality is, processed foods were made to be addictive. And to kind of combat that, right, you have this magical drug called Ozempic. And if you have this GLP-1 agonist drug, right, and it reduces your hunger, right, well, if you're not that hungry, right, then you won't eat as much. And if you won't eat as much, right, then you should lose weight, right, in theory. But the reality is, for some people, like, good for you, right? Like, it's working, you're losing weight, you look good. For some people, they might look a little haggard, like a zombified ghoul, like jerky. And for some people, this doesn't even work at all, right? They're still obese, they're still fat, and yeah, they're not hungry, but it's like, well, where are the benefits, right? Like, you should be losing weight. So I want to see and talk about the reality of Ozempic and the hard truth, right? Because it's been a couple of years already. We've already seen it work in action. Some people have benefits. There's more side effects. Some people are not doing good at all. So really, I mean, it's kind of mixed. But I want to talk about the reality that these drugs come with side effects. We know these side effects. I'm going to talk about that. Some people are claiming they're losing a ton of weight, but the reality is people are losing a lot of muscle. They're losing water weight besides some of the fat they're losing, and in some cases, some people have even lost more muscle than fat, right? Which is really problematic because when you do other things, you don't really lose muscle. But because of this, and I'll tell you why, right? This is causing malnutrition in people that are taking this drug, they want to lose weight, but at the same time, right, they're catabolizing the amino acids from their muscles, and you're losing muscle, which is not a good thing because you want to keep your muscle and preserve it because that's what helps you move your body. Third is some of the people that come with this drug, they rebound, right? They get back all their weight. Um, People see this with people that do bariatrics, right? They do surgery so they can eat less, right? And by the time they know it, right, a year passes, and yeah, I mean, they lost the weight for a good 2, 3 months, but a year later, they're the same to where they were, obese, and sometimes even fatter. So, what I will say, right, is people need to be responsible with what they eat. This is not a magic pill to eat whatever you want, right? That doesn't exist. You can't cheat God and you can't cheat biology, right? For as much as you want to do that, right? You gotta eat right, you gotta eat healthy, right? And that's what I'm here for. So here's the thing, right? You want to fix your metabolism and hormones. You don't want to starve. Because I had a client and she came to me, right? She goes Ozempic, it didn't work. And the thing is, if you're eating less, right, you're getting less energy in your body, right? But in her case, right, she ate less, she got weaker, right, because you're not eating more for the energy to sustain your body, and she was still obese. And she felt bad because her friends were losing weight and they were looking good, and she didn't move the needle, right? So she came to me out of frustration, and ironically, right, she was paying out of pocket. I think she was paying over like 400 or something. I don't know, right? I forgot. But point being, right, I put her in a protein-rich diet so she could eat more food, lose some weight, keep her muscle, have more energy, right? And she was already off the drug, and she was frustrated because it obviously didn't work with her, right? So she stopped taking it, right? If you do something that's not working, then stop doing it, right? Because it's not like she did the drug wrong, right? She went in, she got the injections, and she wasn't eating, but it didn't move the needle for her. and also taught her how to fix her hunger hormones, right? Because the reality is, you don't really need Ozempic. You got to fix your hunger hormones, and that's what I taught her. And people say, well, she's an anomaly, right? Because you have calories in, calories out, right? You eat, 800 calories or less, and you should lose weight, right? But the reality is, for some people, that doesn't work. And for some people, right, eat unhealthy food, fast food, junk food, right? And that keeps them fat. And you have metabolic gridlock, right? Like you're never fixing your metabolic health in the first place, right? You can't eat nothing but garbage, you get away with it, right? Everything will always catch up to you, right? Whether you're kind of youngish and you can pull it off, good. Once you get older, that's kind of hard to do, right? Because, you like the youth that you once had to get away with some BS. So, point being, right, is they go into a stressed starvation mode where body fat becomes hard to lose. And your thyroid starts to panic, right? Because it's like, wait, you're not eating. How am I going to maintain, energy? How am I going to, maintain your muscle? How am I going to maintain your body, right? Because thyroid's really important in all this. But the truth is, people need to eat more and eat healthier. Ozempic is a tool, right? It reduces your hunger, eat less food, and sure, that can help you, right? But here's what I talk to people about, right? Just as you eat less, right, doesn't mean you're going to lose weight. And when you're wasting money on Ozempic, you want it to work for you, right? And I feel bad for this lady, right? She spent, what, 6 months or so taking this drug and shit, no positive benefit out of it. So, what I tell people, right, is if you are taking Ozempic, right, or once you're getting off of Ozempic, right, what you put into your body matters a lot. And the reason is you got to fix your metabolic health. What it's kind of hard because you're not that hungry, right? So you only have so much room to put something in your stomach. And that's why eating foods cooked in seed oils, sugar with high fructose corn syrup, you're not eating enough protein, you're not eating the healthy fats. It breaks your metabolism over time, right? So my biggest fear, right, is some people are going to stop taking Ozempic and they're going to have even worse metabolic health. Because just because you eat less doesn't mean you're eating healthier, right? That's the big thing I'm always harping on. So here's the thing, right? Ozempic, whether you take the pill or the injection or you're taking one of the other ones like Rybelsus or Wegovy or mounjaro, you gotta fix your diet first. You can't just eat fast food, get away with it, have some more ice cream. Because again, right, you gotta give your body what it needs. It's a lot more than just, macros, right? Like protein and eating fats and eating carbs, whether you're high carb or low carb or keto or whatever, right? People forget about eating for nutritional sustenance, right? Your vitamins, your minerals, right? Your B vitamins, right? Your fat soluble vitamins. Eating, fast food and junk food isn't going to have all those vitamins and minerals you need, right? And that's why I tell people you got to eat healthier. And, I'll tell you at the end, like what's going to help. But again, right, what I'm going to cover, right, in this video, this article, right, is what are the common and new side effects? Because there are new side effects that are happening. Why people are losing their muscle due to malnutrition. It's not a good thing. The importance of protein, which goes hand in hand with the malnutrition thing we're talking about. And why Ozempic can't replace a healthy diet, right? Look, you can't cheat God, you can't cheat biology. You got to change what you eat. So again, right, if you're taking Ozempic, Rybelsus, Wegovy, mounjaro, or any GLP-1 agonist, right, read this article or watch this video and send it to someone who's on it, right, so they can become more educated and learn about it. Because I want people to have a solution where they could go forward so they have better results on Ozempic. And then if they choose to get off Ozempic, they can still carry on those results, right? Because obviously you stop the drug, it's not going to work anymore, right? And you're getting hungry, right? So we should work on fixing hunger hormones, right? So when you do eat a good meal, right? You feel full, you feel satisfied, you ate enough protein, you ate enough fat, right? Ate enough carbs, you ate enough food where you're giving your body the sustenance to nurture it. So let's talk about side effects, because side effects are very important because some people don't have any, right? And some people have it severely and they gotta stop taking it. So, what's interesting is it could probably give you, in some cases, right, thyroid tumors, even thyroid cancer, right? And more or less, you can tell if you have a swelling in your neck, right? Like a goiter, like a big thing coming out. Hoarseness, right? Where, like when you talk or yell, you get that without even trying. You got trouble swallowing and or shortness of breath, which I kind of hate shortness of breath because that's like the thing for everything that doesn't narrow anything down, right? So the thing is, there's a chance you may get this. This was studies in rats, and again, right, it's just a kind of warning, right? But I would assume in some way this affects thyroid because your thyroid needs, selenium, right? It needs iodine. It needs sodium for the sodium iodide symporter, right? So it can move that around, right? You got to make your T4, T3, helps regulate your metabolism, your temperature. It's a very important gland in the body, right? That's in some cases neglected. People can have too, right? Inflammation of the pancreas, pancreatitis. I don't know why this happens. This could be the drug, but I would assume, in my opinion, this may be kind of messing with your enzymes, right? Because the pancreas does make some enzymes for your body, right? Because you got to make enzymes to break down your carbs, right? Like amylase. You make enzymes to break down your fats, like lipase. Then you have a variety of other proteolytic enzymes to break down your proteins, right? Changes in vision. This has been linked to, hypoglycemia, right? Where your blood sugar is high and then it drops really low. And then again, right, this is a big one for diabetics, right? Because it's not a good thing. But, signs and symptoms of low blood sugar may include dizziness, lightheadedness, blurred vision, anxiety, irritable mood changes, sweating, slurred speech, hunger, confusion, drowsiness, shakiness, weakness, headache, fast heartbeat, and feeling jittery. And the reason why this may happen, right, is again, right, if you're eating enough food, right, or maybe you carb out like crazy, right, and you're like, fuck, I'm gonna have cake, cookies, candy, right? I'm just gonna, eat like a kid, right, that has no parent. So what happens is, and I think this is the case where this does happen, right, as opposed to people that are eating healthy, is they spike up their blood sugar, it drops all the way down, and that then becomes called reactive hypoglycemia. And this reactive hypoglycemia, right, this is where you get the signs and symptoms because you ate too much sugar and your body needs to recompensate, right? Now, if you don't get your nutrients right, like you're low in zinc, you're low in biotin, right? You're low in B1, you're low in B3, right? Then you're not really helping your body with the conversion of energy and to stabilize your blood sugar, especially when it comes to insulin. 5. Dehydration leading to kidney problems. So again, this may cause diarrhea, nausea, and vomiting, and this can cause a loss of fluids, right, because of the drug. Now the thing is, when you're taking this drug, right, not only does it affect your hunger, but in some cases it could affect, you know, that hormonal signaling that tells your body, hey, you're thirsty, you should drink some water, right? And for some people, they could kind of have that issue, right, where they may drink enough water and they're just not hungry anymore. Then you have 6, severe stomach problems. Now the thing is, this is going to be related to people that have that delayed gastric emptying for whatever reasons, and I have my opinions on why that is, right? But basically, the food is stuck in your stomach and it's lingering there for quite a while, right? And at some point, it has to enter into your small intestines, right? It goes into the small intestines, into the large intestines, and through there, you got the bile acids. They break down the food even further, and you extract your vitamins, you extract your minerals. And if you're having the severe problems, right, with the stomach, where you're not able to go through that emptying, right, which may be impacting your gut motility and your peristalsis, then that's an even bigger issue, right? And that's one of the big reasons why some people have stopped taking, these GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic, right? Because if that's happening, right, then you're not able to get the nutrients you need for your body to absorb it and to utilize it. As it is, you're eating less, and hopefully you're eating well. You're eating nutrient-dense foods, right? So your body can absorb those nutrients. 7, for some people, they get an allergic reaction. Again, right, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, or throat, problems breathing, swallowing, severe rash, itching, fainting, or dizzy, even a rapid heartbeat, right? When it comes to this, I'm no expert on this because for some reason people have reactions to medication and this could happen, right? So if that happens, of course, go get help, right? Gallbladder problems. Now, this is interesting, and this is going to be an opinion of mine, right? So again, right, symptoms could be pain in your upper stomach, abdomen, right? The pit of your stomach, some people would say. You could get fever, you could get yellowing of the skin or eyes, jaundice, and even clay-colored stools. I would argue this is also related to your liver, right? Because again, right, for a lot of people, right, and there are some people doing their best, right, and they go to a personal trainer or they Google how to eat healthy, right? Unfortunately, people were taught, right, that they should only eat seed oils, right? That tallow is bad for you and it's going to somehow, clog your heart, which makes no logical sense. It's never been proven. They also eat a very high carb diet. And what happens is, In reality, you need to stimulate your gallbladder and liver, right? You gotta eat some high quality fats. When you eat high quality fats, it tells our body to start producing bile acids, right? Bile salts, whatever you want to call it, right? And what happens is that's one of the most important things for your body and the small intestines and the large intestines to not only absorb nutrients but also to get the peristalsis going. So what happens is for people that don't eat enough fat, right, they might have that delayed gastric emptying, right? In which it's not moving the muscles in your stomach and your intestine to go through, the tract to eventually, be pooped out, right? So that's a missing trigger, a missing mechanism that's important, right? You gotta eat some kind of healthy fat. And again, I don't know too much about this one, right? Where foods or liquid get into the lungs during surgery or procedure. So again, right, if you're taking Ozempic, and you're getting a surgery for whatever reason, tell your doctor, right? And always tell your doctor what medications they're doing, right? When you do surgery, even what vitamins and minerals are taken, right? Supplements, because there could be some impact, and they didn't know about this stuff, right? So you have surgery and nothing goes wrong. So the most popular thing we see now is the Ozempic face, right? You have the hollowed out appearance, the sunken cheeks because you're losing fat, signs of aging, wrinkles, loose skin, sagging skin, right? And this is a big concern. And what makes me really mad, right, is you have all these plastic surgeons, right, trying to like jump on this bandwagon to like give people more, Botox and lip fillers. And I'm like, what's happening is everyone needs some fat, right? Like you need some fat on your body, right? No one is supposed to be an anorexic, bulimic skeleton, right? We're not supposed to look like we were on a starving, middle of nowhere, right, for 2 weeks, no food, water, whatever. Water, you die in 3 days. But point being, right, like you're malnourished. And before we get there, I want to talk about these common side effects with Ozempic, right? Nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, stomach abdominal pain, constipation. Again, everything I told you about, right? This all comes together. It's overlapping, and it, makes this happen, right? But the reality is some of these side effects come from not eating enough food or drinking water. Your body needs high quality food to nourish your body. The problem with calories in, calories out, right, is, like I said earlier, right, it ignores the fact your body needs nutrients like vitamins and minerals. So think about it like this, right? How are you going to nourish your body when, Ozempic is going to drive down your hunger, right? And you're eating less? Then that means you're also getting less nutrients, right? The initial problem, right, is people that were hungry and that they were eating just garbage. Now, if you give your body the right stuff, right, then you would trigger hormones in your body to say, hey, this guy's full, right? I got the vitamins I need, I got the minerals I need, I got the proteins I need, I got the fats I need, I got the carbs I need. I got everything my body needs, right, to nourish it. So my body can be, okay, I'm cool, you can rest now. Now the body is going to do its job, right? To, do what it's got to do to keep you alive and take care of you. If not, right, you might get the excessive loose skin, right? You might get that very weird kind of chicken neck thing going on. You might look a little gaunt. And again, right, I don't want to harp on people's physical appearance, right? But I mean, the reality is people care about the way they look because, we want to be attractive. We all want to be handsome, right? And, if losing weight is going to make you look like a ghoul that looks like mummified or like jerky, right? Then that's not a good thing, right? You want to look youthful, alive, a good appearance, right? Even when you're old, right? There's some old people that look great and they didn't take Ozempic. They ate well their whole life, right? And to a certain extent, some good genetics, depending. So you have unusual side effects, right? And this has been accumulating over the past few years because, again, right, you only get so much data from the initial testing, right? And now we're learning about, you know, people being tested on like a guinea pig and, in some trials. So we're learning new things that are happening, right? Because there's all sorts of drug companies jumping into the game with their own version of Ozempic and similar GLP-1 agonist drugs. And the thing is, we're finding out that new things are happening, right? Most popular, Ozempic face. I argue it's because of malnutrition. You're not eating enough, man. So your body's eating less protein, right? Less collagen, so your skin gets, wrinkly. You get saggy skin and wrinkles. Again, you're not getting the protein you need for your skin, the collagen, to make that, elastin. Then you have the combination where you lack vitamin C, you're lacking B vitamins, you're lacking zinc, and people look older, right? I mean, some people look fat and they look younger, right? And they, lose a ton of weight real fast, right? Unhealthy, with Ozempic, right? If they're not eating right, and then they look worse. They look, sure, you're nice and skinny, but now you look, you know, kind of scary. But point being, right, is the body's losing facial fat, and you need that facial fat to have a nice plump cheek padding. It makes you look younger, and when you lose it, I mean, I think there was that big argument about female celebrities that get that buccal cheek fat removal, and then they look less attractive. I mean, you need some fat on your body, that little marbling, right? And it's natural. We have some fat, right? But we're not supposed to be super obese, and we're not supposed to be, a stick, right? Like, there's a beautiful in between, right, within BMI that people should be. Then you have people that are losing muscle around their mouth, right? Then you have that sagging jowls like a Nixon. They get the sunken cheeks. They got really wrinkly mouth lines now. Um, some men and women reporting they got loose sagging skin around their butt area. Nobody wants a weird flabby ass, right? And again, right, like Ozempic boobs, right? Women report their breasts are looking deflated and sagging, right? Again, right, women, you do need fat. Your boobs are made of fat, right? It is what it is, right? And if it's going to be deflated and sagging, it's because you're losing fat, and you need some fat, a healthy amount of fat on your body to keep you marbled. Ozempic vulva, again, women are have noticing about their vaginal vulvar growing area that it's being very loose, and their skin isn't as tight as it used to be. And this is ranging from some women that are young, and of course women that are old. But it's a concern for women, right? Because women want to look beautiful everywhere, and then you have Ozempic hair loss, which some people have reported, not a lot. But again, right, I argue all this is malnutrition, right? You're taking a drug that makes you eat less. Arguably, people think they can eat whatever they want now, right? But they never thought for a minute, right, is what I'm eating good enough to nurture my body? And the reality is people think food is just food, the end, right? Macronutrients, the end. They don't think about, vitamin B1, vitamin B2, vitamin B3, vitamin B5, vitamin B6, B7, B9, B12. People are thinking about vitamin K, zinc, magnesium, molybdenum. We need nutrients besides just macronutrients, right? And some people call them trace minerals, and I think that's very offensive, right? Because we don't just need a little bit of it, we need some of it every single day, right? So we could be optimal and not on our best. So again, I think something interesting is, which is concerning, right, is, this thing called non-arteritic anterior ischemic optic neuropathy, right? And this is going to be labeled Ozempic blindness or damaged blood vessels, and this is thought to occur due to rapid drop in blood sugar. Again, right, kids of like, what was the New York Post, right? They always like to be this way, call it rotting eye or Ozempic rotting eye, or you're getting eye strokes, way to make it more appealing, right? Ozempic bunting, that's a big one, and I think mental health is really important, right? Whether it's going to be the anxiety, the panic attacks, the mood swings, the depression, right? You're eating less food, right? And when you eat less food, right, you're giving your body less things to run on. If my body thinks I'm dying and I'm eating less, my body isn't going to be happy. And that's a big signal, right? Your body thinks you're dying. You're probably in this sort of state of anxiety, not knowing if you're going to eat right, when you're constantly under eating. Because the reality is, people can overeat food and still lose weight. But are you eating healthy, right? And the answer is going to be no, right? Like the reality is, calories in, calories out, CECO doesn't work for everybody. And if it did, you know, then this problem would be easily solved. But this doesn't reflect the reality for everybody, right? So yeah, people that are not eating enough protein, again, I always argue protein's really important, it's essential, and it goes a little beyond muscle, right? Because of these meatheads, right, that work out, big muscles, yeah, a lot of protein. Well, we're losing sight that, your body needs protein, right? For enzymes, your body needs protein, right? For your hair, for your skin, for your nails, your body needs proteins. For your immune system, amazing, right? Your body needs proteins, amino acids, right? For your neurotransmitters. So again, right, like protein's really important. It's not like the main energy nutrient, right? Like a fat or like a carb, right? But it does play a big role in the body, and you do need it, or else you're gonna have this kind of loss of facial muscle and kind of bony, and it's not gonna look good, right? And while people are enjoying success on Ozempic, right, losing weight, some people have no problem, it's very minimal. Again, right, I'm talking about the people that are not having a good time, that they're not getting the benefits they want, right? That this drug failed them, and they didn't succeed in the way other people did, right? And I'm concerned that people, there's a study, a survey, right, basically, where around 60% of people said that they're willing to take the drug, right, even if it's going to be nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, stomach pain, and constipation, and they'll take it no matter what. And apparently, it's worth all the suffering because people want to be skinny, they want to lose the weight, right? And the thing is, there is no long-term studies on this drug, right? I'm always hearing, people harp on long-term studies and, meta-analysis and all this BS, right? The point being, right, where are those studies? People are going to want to do this drug forever, right? Like, look at statins, right, for heart disease, right? What does it do long-term, right? Well, it may cause diabetes and Alzheimer's, right? So it's not a good thing, right? But I do believe Ozempic is going to be a short-term drug, right? Because we're going to find out that people aren't well educated in how they should be eating, and it's causing malnutrition. And I do hope, right, this is a spiral into people getting, disease of malnutrition, right? So the answer is simple, right? How do you negate much of this, right? Because there's only so much you could do, right? So you want to eat more protein, right? Eat more protein, you'll flesh out your body, right? You take Ozempic, right? You're taking one of these GLP-1 drugs, you're not going to eat that much food, right? So you should prioritize eating protein, right? Because again, right, the whole point of this drug is it makes you not hungry. So, these people aren't getting protein, right? They're losing muscle, getting Ozempic face. And I do applaud these people for trying their best, right, to eat healthy, right? Eating salads and low-calorie foods. But the thing is, you're already on a low-calorie diet. And you're stuffing yourself with filler. And it's not nutritious. So let's think about it differently now, right? And I use a few kind of ideas here, right? So in economical terms, you have a scarcity of what foods can enter your body, right? In social terms, you can only let a few food buddies into your body to eat, right? In financial terms, your allowance went down from $100 to $40, right? So you're $60 less down on what you could buy. Basically, you can only eat so much food and your stomach has limited space. So before your stomach feels full, right, you gotta make it count, Fast food and junk food, sure, it'll fill you up and you won't be hungry, right? You're taking the drug. But it's not nutritious. It's not gonna enrich your body with what it needs to do its functions. So the number one tip I give my clients, right, is to, stop taking the drug, right? Or if you're on the drug, regardless of where you are and when you decide, right, it's your own personal decision, is to prioritize eating protein. It's simple and effective because one, it helps you preserve your muscle mass. Two, it gives your skin what it needs, it gives your hair what it needs. You need that collagen, right? So you can get that skin. And again, right, like you want to keep your skin nice and supple, right? You want to keep your hair nice and long. You don't want to lose hair or have thinning because you're under eating protein and it's causing malnutrition. Three, again, right, mental health is important, right? All these things go together, right? Malnutrition is important. And I argue there's people eating a ton of food out there that don't eat enough protein, right? And they're suffering from depression and all these different mental illnesses, right? And it's because they're not giving their body the protein they need, the amino acids, the building blocks for your neurotransmitters to influence your mental health, right? Serotonin, right? Dopamine, your endorphins, oxytocin, these are all very important. And if you're not giving your body what it needs to make it right, then, maybe you've drank no water, right? And you're dehydrated, right? Are you going to sweat? Are you going to have tears? Not much, right? But if you drink plenty, right, then, if you have tears, you'll have tears. If you sweat, you'll sweat plenty, right? So it's a matter of, refueling your body. And again, right, to a partial degree, right, protein helps you with the signaling to stop being so hungry. It's a very satiating thing. So if you don't eat protein, your body will catabolize and eat your own muscle, which is not good, right? I consider this to be a severe form of malnutrition that a lot of people are unaware of, right? Again, right, you don't just eat food and that's it, right? Food has nutrients, it has vitamins. Some don't have any, some have very little, some have a ton. It's like making choices. So what you put in your body comes back tenfold instead of onefold or even a negative fold, right? So again, right, if you take Ozempic, right, you have the responsibility of eating food for nutrients, and not for the hedonistic pleasure of eating more cake, cookies, chips, ice cream, and just filling your plate full of junk, right? That's not the point of it. The point is that to be used as a tool to help you on your health journey to make better choices, right? But if people are gonna, it's happens everywhere, right? If people take something, they're gonna abuse it, and it's always to their detriment. So is all protein the same? No, it is not. And in the context I say this, it's because we want quality protein options. They have a lot of vitamins, they got a lot of minerals. It's very spread wide. And I encourage people to eat red meat, right? Like beef, bison, and lamb. And the reason I say that is because you get your amino acids, you get your B vitamins, you get fat soluble vitamins, you get pasture raised eggs, are a good option too. And the sad reality is there's not a lot of foods that are just very nutrient dense and nutrient packed, right? So again, whatever you eat based on your stomach space, that's scarcity, right? It needs to have the most value. So imagine your stomach is smaller and there's less room for food to fit in, right? The only thing you should fit in is not going to be cake, right? It's not going to be chips. It's not going to be junk food. It's not going to be French fries, right? You got to put in, some meat, right? It's going to be the most bang for your buck with what's limited into your stomach, right? And I don't encourage protein powders or drinks or the bars because, again, right, it's only focusing on protein, right? The whole goal is to get a good source of protein that has multivitamins and minerals, right? And even the more expensive protein powders, I mean, they're expensive, they're a little higher quality, but at the end of the day, right, a lot of them use synthetic vitamins and minerals, and I've had clients come to me with problems and I had to fix it for them, right? So again, right, it's about eating red meat and eggs, the most bang for your buck, right? So it's not necessarily going to be a carnivore diet. You can eat some fruits and veggies, right? But remember, you're taking this drug that may cause you delayed gastric emptying, and you don't want food to rot in your stomach, because then you get the sulfur burps, you get that stomach pain, and it gets kind of tricky. And the thing is, people eventually at some point, right, if it gets so bad, they're going to stop taking it, right? Because again, food's not supposed to rot in your stomach. You're supposed to eat your food, goes down your pipe, right? Goes into your stomach. You got a bunch of enzymes going on to break down the protein, break down your carbs, break down a little bit of your fats. And then once it's triggered, it goes into your small intestines. You got like sodium bicarbonate, you got bile salts, bile acids going in. It further breaks down your food as it goes through your small intestines and your large intestines into your colon. You're absorbing a lot of those nutrients into your body and eventually poop it out, right? But we're not having that motility, that peristalsis. It's stuck in your stomach. That's not a good thing, right? That's not normal and that's not natural. That shouldn't be happening. And that's one of the known side effects of this drug, which is, again, very problematic. So for this reason, right, Ozempic can be used as a short-term hunger reducer tool as you fix your diet to become more nutritious, nourish your body, lose weight, and feel better, right? And eventually people are going to want to wean off of Ozempic, right? So talk to your doctor about lowering your dose, microdosing Ozempic. And this is useful for people that want to transition into a whole foods healthy diet with these, right? And that should be your goal, right? Your goal shouldn't be to take this drug, you're going to magically lose weight and look good. Because the reality is, you're not going to do better. You're going to waste away. You're going to, you know, you're going to like zombify yourself, right? You got to eat food, right? You can't neglect yourself, you know? So that's why I say, eating a ribeye, eating some, ground beef, eating, more steak, sirloin, brisket, whatever, right? Whatever have you, right? Lamb, if you like it, bison's pretty good too. It's to eat more meat with, like, it's the main part of your meal, right? That's going to be the staple, right? And then you could choose whatever else around it, right? Fruits would be, a good idea. Veggies would be a good idea, right? But again, right, you want to get to the point where you could eventually get off of Ozempic and your body can do its own digestion. Oh yeah, so let me explain, this nutrition thing, right? So again, I picked this picture because the ribeye, although it has a lot of nutrients, right? It's not every nutrient, right? So let's say eat a pound of beef, right? Just for the sake of, the thing, right? You're still gonna be low in vitamin D, so you still need sunlight. You're gonna be low in vitamin E, so you'll need another source of it. Vitamin K, already food is already devoid of that, so it's more of a supplement thing. Zinc, you'll be getting zinc. Selenium, you'll be getting selenium. Potassium, you'll need more towards the potassium. Phosphorus, I mean, you'll be okay. Magnesium, you need more magnesium. That iron here is pretty low, it's because it was overcooked. So, again, more iron. Calcium's low. Copper's fine. Vitamin A's fine. B1's fine, you're not eating a high carb meal. B2's fine. The B3's fine. B5 could be higher. Need some more there. B6 could be okay. The folate's way too low. B12 is fine. So the reality is, for as nutrient dense as, this piece of meat is, it doesn't give you everything you need. So again, right, like you're missing, some B7, biotin. Again, you're missing molybdenum from eggs, right? So that's why I say to pair with eggs, because eggs is pretty nutrient dense, right? You get a lot of everything in there too. It's a good little multivitamin. So to combine this and mix it together, because if not, then you're gonna waste away just like crazy, right? Just eating, an unhealthy diet, right? You gotta eat your meat, right? You gotta eat your protein. It's gotta be animal based, and that'll be the most potent recommendation I can give someone that's in this bubble, right? That's stuck. So Ozempic can't replace a healthy diet because, again, your hunger hormones were broken in the first place, right? And you gotta remember, Ozempic doesn't actually fix your hunger hormones, right? You get off of Ozempic, you're gonna be hungry again. And the thing is, your hunger hormones are a signal to tell your body you gotta eat more or you gotta eat less, right? And again, right, whether you're outside, whether you're cold weather or it's hot weather, whether you get a lot of sun or no sun, whether you're physically active or you're pretty sedentary, whether you're sweating a ton or not, whether you're hydrating or not drinking any water, depending on your metabolism and your thyroid activity, again, right, your body responds certain signals, right? Whether you're gonna eat more food or less food, whether you're thirsty or not food or not thirsty, right? So the reality is, Ozempic breaks that. So you're messing with what your body's telling you to eat, right? Not only that, but you're having delayed gastric emptying and constipation, right? Because you're not eating enough food to push it through your body. Again, your body needs healthy fats, right? The bile acids to help you with the gut motility and the peristalsis. Again, some carbs, some proteins for proteolytic enzymes to break down and use those amino acids. The hydration for your colon so you can have a good smooth poop. And again, right, Ozempic breaks normal digestion, right? So it's not fixing your hunger hormones, right, which is what you need in the first place, and it's breaking your digestion, which is not good in the first place either, right? And the reality is, people took time to break their hunger hormones, over decades. People ate fast food full of empty calories, people ate junk food devoid of nutrients, and that didn't trigger proper hormone signaling, right? Leptin never turns off, keeping you unsatisfied. The ghrelin's always on, keeping you hungry for more. And that's why I wrote a book, right? This book right here, right? Because again, right, it's a matter of changing your diet to accommodate hunger and hormonal health, right? While prioritizing protein is a very good start, right? You gotta give your body the proper trigger it needs to tell leptin, hey man, I'm cool, I'm full, I feel great. Ghrelin, go away, if we're not hungry, right? And you can restore your body's natural function by eating the right carbs, eating healthy fats, and eating real animal-based foods. And if you remember my Patreon and you're subscribed, right, you could go down here, click this and you could download it. And you have the guide there to help you with that. So, in conclusion, Ozempic and GLP-1 agonist drugs, they're not magic pills or injections. It's not so you can eat whatever you want, right? Again, that's a very childish idea, right? I mean, grow up. You can eat, birthday cake every now and then, right? No big deal. You can have a dessert every now and then, right? You can enjoy ice cream every now and then, right? But if it's something you're doing every day or with every meal, you gotta, take your health more seriously, right? Because again, right, you gotta respect your body by not putting more garbage into it, right? Your body matters a lot, and you're not eating as much anymore. So what you do put into it matters a great deal. Protein is really important, so you don't become frail, have that Ozempic face, mouth, butt, boobs, feet, whatever, right? You want to look good, right? And last thing you want is to get cosmetic surgery that doesn't fix the root cause of your problems, right? So keep in mind, some people are losing more muscle and water weight than fat, so that might be you, right? That might be a friend of yours. Ozempic is a tool to help you reduce hunger, right? Again, just because you reduce hunger and you eat less doesn't mean you're always going to lose weight, right? Because I've had a lot of people come to me that struggle with that, and we got to fix your hunger hormones with the right food so they can then, reestablish their hormones and proper signaling. And, again, right, you switch to healthier, nutrient dense foods and you nourish your body so you can lose the weight, so you can have more energy, so you can keep your muscle and even build some muscle, right? And look great while weaning off of Ozempic. And once you get off of Ozempic, you have your new healthy dietary habits, your new lifestyle, the new food you're eating, and you're gonna feel great. You're gonna feel better, and you won't have to suffer the side effects of Ozempic, right? So again, right, by switching to a healthier diet, you can avoid the side effects of Ozempic, so you don't get the nausea, the vomiting, the food rotting in your stomach, the stomach pain, the diarrhea, the constipation, the potential that there might be eye blindness or even thyroid cancer, depression, anxiety, and other symptoms, right? So again, right, I'm gonna be able to read my book, so you could eat the right fats with your proteins and carbs, so you could trigger satiating hormones like GLP-1 and leptin, so you could shut down your ghrelin hunger hormones, and your body will be happy. And if you want to get off Ozempic like my client, this is the perfect opportunity to start working with me to change your diet to something more nourishing while we achieve all your health goals, right? It is possible and it does take time, right? Nothing is going to be a quick fix, nothing is going to be fast. Everything takes a bit of time, it takes effort, and that's the hard reality, right? That's the hard truth. Everything takes time, it takes effort, and you gotta do the right things, right? And if you don't, you don't improve. And I feel bad for people that believe, right, that this thing is a magic pill drug and that it's gonna do something to actually help them, right? For some people, they can, right? But the reality is, while you're riding that wave, right, make those changes to eat healthier, right? So this drug isn't a waste and it went towards something good. And I think they were passing deals in like the Congress or something. So Ozempic's going to be more affordable now. More people are going to do it, right? People were promised miracles, so some people, you know, they're going to take it, right? People want to take this drug because it's been, I mean, that really smart marketing with doing it on celebrities and they going on the red carpet or whatever, and wow, this fat guy is now skinny, or this chick that was overweight looks so good in that dress. So again, right? You need to become immune to to marketing, right? And ads. I mean, I'm very skeptical of a lot of ads because I've never seen an ad that was like truly what it was, right? It's just the reality of life, and it's all about selling you stuff and making money. So again, I'm here to help you improve your health, and I can guide you, right? Because again, I'm health coaching you to make meaningful dietary change in your life. Share this with your friends and family, so eventually everybody can break off of Ozempic, right, into a healthy diet. It's going to nourish you. It's going to give you what you need, right? And share this with everybody because hardworking Americans need to know about this so they can take back their health, right? If you have Facebook, you got the Twitter, X, right? Group messages, your various social media site, whatever it is, right? Share this with people that you love. Share it with your friends because, again, right? If you don't do anything about this, you don't want to turn into, an Ozempic ghoul, right? You want to look good. You want to be happy, right? If you can save money not taking a drug, that's even better, right? So again, right? I mean, if you want access to the guide, right? You could, go to my Patreon, right? Take the link, right? Click here. You become a client of mine. I work with you one on one. This is on retainer, and the reason I chose to do this $297 a month for retainer is because people miss an appointment, and I want to help them, and I don't want to like double charge or do like a cancel fee. So if I'm hiring a retainer, then like you save your money, still get the whole rest of the month. We could redo an appointment, and you can have as many appointments as you want, right? Some people see me once or twice, some people see me 5 times. Again, it depends on you, your time, how you feel, and like what baggage you come with, and how it can help you alleviate all that baggage, so you could get better, right? Because again, I do specialize in type 2 diabetes and obesity nutrition, help people recover from chronic fatigue, help people recover their stress so they can sleep better, help people do heavy metal detoxes without chelation, hormone balancing. That's a really big one these days with low testosterone guys and estrogen and they having that roid rage. But the reality is there's all these microplastics in the environment and it's making men, hormonal and very agitated in their mood swings. Women, again, you got high estrogen, low progesterone, trouble losing weight, that kind of thing. I came from the Accutane detox background. So taking Accutane or eating a ton of like beef liver and kidneys, I can help you detox the vitamin A. Acid reflux and gastritis, again, you're eating terrible food. Eventually it comes back, IBS, that kind of thing. I help you with that. Again, related to leaky gut. Again, you got to heal, seal, kill bad bacteria, put in good bacteria. If there's any yeast, get rid of it. skin and acne nutrition, again, have beautiful skin again, right? That's what people want. It's all related, it's all connected. Heart health, whether you have plaque in your heart or whether you have, calcium in your heart, I help you, do the right things in your diet so you can reverse that. Fertility, if you're a man and you're shooting blanks in your low T, I help you with that. Women, if you're, not in the right stage and you're having, PMSing, you have all these other things, right? It's the reality is a lot of young women are taking birth control, and we're finding out that some women are getting off of birth control, and it's almost like they never stop taking the drug, right? And we're gonna help fix you with the right proper nutrition, the right food, so your body can heal, and you can have children, right? Oncology and cancer nutrition, I've helped people, work with that. And the thing is, what's weird is when people work with me, they never have to go back. I'm not claiming anything. I'm just saying that when people work with me, right, they do better, they're healthier, they're happier. I still encourage them to get checkups, right? Because again, right, you always got to check up on that, right? Especially if you may come from a genetic background, but just because you have a genetic predisposition, it doesn't mean you're doomed, right? It doesn't mean you're screwed. It just means you gotta, you know, grab the reins and take more charge of your health and do the right things. So again, right, if you want a one-on-one personal consultation with me, how I can improve your health with diet, nutrition, and supplement recommendations, yeah, you can click here, you know, the link. You could get me on retainer, subscribe, and we'll have an appointment, and we could figure things out, right? Because again, right, chronic disease is metabolic dysfunction. Help people fix their health when diets and doctors fail, and it kind of annoys me. Like I'm never like choice number one. I'm like the guy people go to after they went through like 10 doctors and three dietitians and all sorts of nutritionists. I kind of hate that, right? I feel like the last guy, right? But people come to me and then they get better, right? So God willing, you went through all this pain, trials, and tribulation, and you ended up, to me, right? And I'm here to help you, right? Just again, I love you guys. I want you to be healthy. I want you to be happy. I want you to pass down this wisdom, right? Dave's health wisdom to your friends, your family, your children, because we all deserve to be happy and healthy, right? And when you're happy and healthy, you can focus on doing things in this world that matters. That's important to you. That's important to making things better for everybody, right? To raise a new generation of children that can solve issues that we couldn't solve, right? So again, right, if you're a member and you're subscribed, whether it's the $5 a month, which is affordable because I want to help everybody out, or whether you're the kind of person that wants to hire me as a client, you could also go down here, you click the attachment, you could download the little bug here, right? But as always, if you have any questions, leave a question, right? Because I'm always trying to do my best to help people that have like no money, they get nothing, because I like to do free videos on TikTok. But what happened is when I was doing all these TikTok videos, especially the Ozempic topic, I got banned from TikTok for a few days, and then I fought to reverse it, and then finally, they said, "All right, we'll unban you, but you got to take down the video." So I took it down. I kind of tweaked it, but it was so whitewashed. It was so watered down. It felt hollow, right? And that really made me angry. That really pissed me off. So I did Substack. I did, this whole thing with Patreon now, which has been, I'm happy with it. Where I can have people, access, content, right, that's uncensored, and people can get the guide and the help they need. Because in reality, right, a lot of things are being censored today, right? Especially since TikTok got bought by certain people from a certain country, and it's not just the Chinese, right? That's why I'm posting more videos on Rumble now, and I hear Rumble's gonna do short form video now, right? So I might go back to doing my short form videos so I could reach more people and help them, right? And that's one of the reasons why I felt the need to, unfortunately, bow the knee to TikTok. Because if I got banned, all my videos would have been taken off. And I get people a shit ton of free information, give them a ton of advice, answer people's comments, because again, right, I'm very endearing and I want to help people, right? Because I love doing what I'm doing, right? And if you need, a really good health coach, right, I'm here for you. You can work with me, and I make things easy, and I listen to you, right? Because again, right, the whole point of this job is to listen to you, listen to your experiences, and I got to offer you a solution and what I can do to fix you with your health, with your diet, and sometimes for a lot of people, right, they get the health down, right, with the diet part down, right, but they got the mental part wrong, right. For some people, they're physically perfect, right, but they got the nutrition wrong, right, and like everyone excels really well in certain places, right? But sometimes you need me to come with you with a helping hand to point you in the right direction. Because if not, you're lost, and then you're watching all these people on TikTok or YouTube, all these gurus, everyone has their own opinion about everything. And the reality is, they're not even talking to you, right? Because everything requires nuance, right? I got two people come to me for the Ozempic thing. Somebody has a thyroid problem. Someone has diabetes. Another person has none of that, and I gotta help them differently, right? I gotta give them different recommendations, right? I gotta give them different food choices. I gotta give them different, everything because they're although they have the same problem, right? They have three other different issues. I gotta help them individually with, and that's where nuance is important, right? That's why you're gonna need a health coach or a nutritionist, right? And I don't usually talk about dietitians a lot, right? But a lot of people come to me from a dietitian, right? That was forcing them, recommendations that didn't work. And I think what's sad, right, and what makes me really angry, right, is a lot of you people really want to be healthy. You're doing everything right. You're listening to people, right? But they're giving you bad, terrible advice. And when it doesn't work, they blame you for not doing it. And you guys are doing it to the T. You're doing it to the best of your ability. And that makes me mad, right? When they start gaslighting. When people start gaslighting, it's because they don't know what they're doing. And they don't know how to help you. And they're not being honest or direct. And, it really breaks down the barriers of understanding what's wrong. And we can see through it. So, yes, if you can, guys, please, right, share this video, like it, you can download it, do whatever you want with it, right? Because I want to help reach as many people as possible, which is why I'm, thanks to Rumble for giving me the inspiration. I want to do a lot more of these free videos to reach more people and to help people, right? So again, right, just a recap with the whole Ozempic thing, reality check as some people are losing more muscle and water weight, and that's not good, right? And as you lose muscle because you're not eating protein, you're going to have those issues. Peristalsis, right, and motility to get you the poop you need to get the food through your, stomach and intestines, right? That's one of the side effects. That's not good. The whole eye thing, that's another, thing that might be happening to some people or could be in the process of. I would venture to say to some degree, it could be related more in the blood sugar realm because, again, right, this drug was more designed for people that were type 2 diabetics. So it could be an overlap with that. And last but not least, right, I wish you guys a very good day. It's Ash Wednesday, so again, right, God bless everyone, right? And yeah, hope you guys stay amazing. If you have any issues, problems, leave a comment and I'll help you answer that, right? Because again, right, I like to help people and that's my whole thing, right? So again, thank you guys. God bless y'all. Have an amazing day. And yeah, please, make the changes, read my guide, and make those changes because it will within time come back tenfold and it'll be an amazing, beautiful transformation. So, all right, bye bye now.